This is the national programme. The time is 4 o'clock. We're crossing now to the weather office.
Boccherini's minuet, and that concludes the appointment for the day. I think we can talk about peace. We don't get very much peace in some parts of the world, but many years ago, Elbert Hubbard said, "Peace comes to him who brings it, joy to him who gives it, but perfect understanding only to him who loves perfectly." Can I repeat that? Peace comes to him who brings it, joy to him who gives it, but perfect understanding only to him who loves perfectly. Goodbye.
This is the national program. The time is 5 o'clock. Here is the news, read by Dougal Stevenson. The Soviet Union has again vetoed a resolution in the Security Council concerning the war between India and Pakistan. It was the second time the Soviet delegate had applied the veto within 24 hours. The first one was to kill an American resolution, and the second one, applied this afternoon, was on a resolution tabled by 8 members and supported by the United States, which called for an immediate ceasefire and a mutual withdrawal of military forces. The resolution had earlier been adopted by 11 votes to 2, with Britain and France abstaining. In an earlier vote, the Council rejected a Soviet resolution which put the onus on Pakistan for creating conditions to stop the fighting. The resolution was supported by only Poland, in addition to Russia, and China recorded the solitary vote against. The other 12 members of the Council abstained. There have been no fresh reports of the fighting between India and Pakistan since both sides reported major tank battles in the western sector and both claimed to have made territorial gains. Fierce fighting is reported in the area of the ceasefire line in Kashmir, and the Indians continue to attack in the eastern sector. Both sides claim to have inflicted heavy losses on the other, and the Indians claim to have won complete control in the air over East Pakistan. The Indian Defence Ministry has warned neutral shipping to stay away from the East Pakistani port of Chittagong. The Prime Minister, Sir Keith Holyoake, has said New Zealand would be prepared to make personnel available for United Nations peacekeeping forces, such as observation teams, in the areas where India and Pakistan are fighting. He said the country's delegates at the United Nations have been so informed. Sir Keith said inquiries have been started about the safety of any New Zealand citizens who may be in the war areas, but he said the present indications are that few, if any, will be involved. A state of national emergency has been declared in South Korea. The emergency was proclaimed after a joint session of the South Korean Cabinet and National Security Council, which considered North Korean preparations for war. The meeting also considered what was stated to be various developments arising from China's admission to the United Nations. President Chung-hee Park has ordered top priority to be given to national security arrangements. There will be 3 new seats at the next general election, bringing the number of MPs up to 87. 2 of the new seats are in Auckland and the 3rd in Hamilton. The additional seats are provided for in the report of the Representation Commission, which also proposes many changes in electoral boundaries in both North and South Islands. Several constituencies are changed in area and renamed. Among those which disappear and will be replaced by new constituencies are Waimarino, Waitomo, Hauraki and Bulla. In general, the seats which disappear are replaced by new ones which absorb some or most of the areas of the old ones. The only reaction so far has been from the Labour Party, whose Secretary Mr. Wybrow says there's nothing in the boundary changes that shows a distinct advantage for Labour. The Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Carter, has said that New Zealand must continue to fight against the British lamb levy, and he'll be discussing the next move with his colleagues in the Cabinet. Speaking on his return from talks on the levy in London, Mr. Carter said Britain gave New Zealand an assurance that the levy would be paid by the British consumer, but although prices have risen considerably, the producer is still behind par. He said the recent increases in Britain have not solved the producers' problems.